By the time this video drops, I will be 1 day away from turning 23. Turning 23 is kind of crazy to me, as that means it's been 5 years since I've been 18. And I remember when I was 18, a constant thought that I had was, I'm not going to make it till 20. And this is something that I share with some of my friends as well. So to think that I'm about to be 23 right now is crazy. And so over these last few years, I've learned a lot. So I thought I would take the time to reflect on this time and the lessons I've learned. So in this video, I will be breaking down the things that I wish I knew when I was a teenager. Really, at first I wanted to focus when I was 18, but if I'm being honest with myself, there's lessons that I need to learn at 19. There's lessons that I need to learn at 14, 15. It is only now that I'm really fully grasping it and fully able to look at it and be like, okay, I wish I knew this. So looking at it just as 18, though that is a good area in my life to look at, it doesn't accomplish the whole goal. You're looking at the teenage years, then you completely get it. You completely understand what are the things that I had to improve on and how they might be useful to you now. So the first thing I wish I knew was really just be yourself. I know it sounds simple. Everybody's always talking about it. But if we're being truly honest, when you're a teenager, you want to fit in so badly with everybody. And growing up, I was a shy kid. And it's only when I was around 14, 15, going into high school that I grew out of that a little bit and started to become more friends. But even then, my idea of what it took to fit in was I had to be a certain way. I had to be like everybody else. I don't want to step on people's toes. And so I was just very weary of myself, very aware of my actions and how I was perceived, or at least how I thought I was being perceived. And when you're stuck in that cycle, then you're not really acting like yourself. And so some people will gravitate to you for sure, but others will notice that you're not truly being yourself. And that's actually what will put them away from you. So I wish I knew how to truly be myself, because I feel like I would have enjoyed myself a lot more. And though I've gravitated to the right people, I feel like we could have gotten a lot closer just off of me being myself. And when it comes to being yourself, this is something that I wish I knew, especially in grade 9, because this was the first time that I'm kind of, talking to someone, whatever. And I remember a criticism that I got was that I wasn't affectionate enough. And that's because I've always been a shy person. So when it comes to all that, I'd rather just keep it private. I'm not going to be at school and, trying to do whatever with a girl in front of everybody. That's not my style. That's never been my MO. And yet when I heard this, that I wasn't affectionate enough, now I kind of switched the way that I even texted. I switched the way that I communicated. So now my idea of what it takes to be in a relationship was messed up. And so if I'm being honest, the way that I perceived relationships and how you had to act was very much like you had to switch the way that you are into a version that I just saw as negative, which overall played into the fact that I don't like texting, because my idea of what it takes to send a good text has been messed up, as it's not myself, it's what I think they want to hear, but also, trying to say the right thing. And because it's always felt like the single me and the me in a relationship were always two different people. And though I could enjoy being in a relationship because I'm in a relationship, I always yearned to just be that true single version of myself in the relationship. And at that time, I could not achieve it. But if I just knew how to be myself at the time, everything would have went smoother. The next thing I had to learn was, don't worry about being the hero or the villain. Now, this is a lesson I wish I knew in grade 12. For some background context, I went to a really small school. There was about 50 of us in our grade, maybe, probably even less. It was a French school, so pretty cool. Because of this, most of us went through elementary together, went through high school together. And throughout this, I feel like I was always known as the nice guy, or at least that's how I perceived myself. And if you know the one stereotype, nice guys always finish last. Well, by grade 12, I had lost a lot of weight, going from 210 pounds to around 170. And I had a crush on the baddest girl in my grade. And so, like I mentioned, it was like 50 of us in our grade. So it wasn't crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I was close. I was good friends with her. But I had a crush on her when I started that weight loss journey in grade 11 and in grade 12. But yeah, unfortunately, I got friend zoned. And as a result of this, I was like, I'm done being Mr. Nice Guy. Time to be the villain. It did allow me to go after some of the things that I wanted, because it was like, I don't care if I'm being perceived as the bad guy. Oh, let me be the bad guy. But the reason why I think this is the wrong way to look at it is that in trying to focus on either being the hero or being the villain, I still wasn't focusing on being myself. Like I mentioned earlier, I was still trying to create essentially a character of myself where it had some of the good qualities of me, or it had all the bad qualities. And so though I was able to achieve some of the things that I wanted that otherwise I wouldn't have, I was too focused again on my perception, or at least the way that other people were perceiving me. And even when going through the villain stage, I feel like I was doing certain things that I don't even agree with. And so really, I wish I just focused on just being myself, doing the things that I want to do, not doing the things that I don't want to do, and not try to see myself as the hero or the villain and thinking that that's going to change anything. No, when you're yourself, that's when everything changes. The next thing I wish I knew when I was a teenager is that your mind will justify its excuses. Now, like I mentioned, Now, like I mentioned, I had a crush on the most attractive girl in my school. And I had a crush on this girl for around a year. I remember it was around December 2017 to around December 2018. So a year. And like I said, I got friend zoned. But in that whole year, then I even asked her out. No, it's kind of crazy that I got friend zoned. I didn't even ask her out, but story for another day, maybe even next week. And if you asked me at that time, oh, why haven't you asked her out? I would have had a million reasons. But really, the first one was, like I said, I was on my weight loss journey. And at that time, I've been losing weight. December 2017 was when I probably started already losing. I was already looking better. But I told myself, oh, I have to get to a certain point. And I remember even a month into me realizing that I had this crush. I was going out for lunch. I was with the older kids. I was with her. And at this time, it's like we had good chemistry. People were questioning like, oh, what's going on between you and whatever? And I'm like, oh, no. Nothing, bro. Listen, you know what I'm saying? And I was killing it. Not because, oh, I didn't want that to be in the air or whatever, but because I told myself I had to get in shape before I even think about doing that, even though I was progressively getting in shape. And I really justified that was a legitimate reason. But think about it, months went by. By March, I had abs, and I still told myself I had to get in shape. April, same thing, got to get in shape. May is when I started to look at myself and be like, oh, okay, I'm making progress or whatever. But by May, I started realizing something that was off. And guess what? She got a boyfriend. So now, boom, I'm in the best shape of my life at the time. And she's not even available. Now they break up later on in September or whatever. And I'm in good shape at this point. And now the situation's different. We're cool. She knows that I had a thing for her or whatever because I'm an upfront person. I'm going to mention that at one point, even though I didn't ask her out. And this is when she had a boyfriend. Again, story for another day. But even with this, I still don't do anything because now I'm thinking, I shouldn't. She's got a relationship. But all I'm trying to say is your mind will always have excuses where at the end of it, what happened? I ended up getting friend zoned because I never shot my shot. I waited too long. If I had asked her early in the year, maybe I don't get friend zoned. But you have to realize that there's things that are always going to scare you, and that your mind will always give you reasons as to why you shouldn't do it. But at the end of the day, if you want to grow, you have to do it. Like I said, I got friend zoned from December. But guess what? A few weeks later, I was talking to a girl and I was way more direct. And this time, boom, things were actually progressing. Now, that one didn't end well either, but I was clear with what I wanted. I got things out of it. I did not get friend zoned in that one. That's a fact. And then not long after that, I got in my first relationship. So just stop having all these excuses and just go after what you want. Because the main lesson that really comes from this that I had to understand is it's not what you know that hurts, it's what you don't know. When I was telling myself that I had to get to a certain point or that there's a little more that I had to do before I can ask this girl out, I was stopping myself. And if anything, that's a lesson I've had to learn even into my 20s. There's multiple times where I'm talking to a girl and I want to ask her out, but I'm thinking, I need a little more so that I'm sure that, okay, it's going my way. And the next thing you know, they have a boyfriend. So just really understanding that, boom, it's now or never. And your mind is always going to have these excuses. You're always going to think there's a long what you have to achieve. But you just got to man up and do it. Because when you know that they don't like you, that's one thing. You live with it. But when you don't know, that's going to eat you up. So make sure you act on it. So the next thing I wish I knew was really just to appreciate the people in my life way more. Now, it's not like I've lost people. I've been rather lucky. Everybody that I know in high school, I'm still either close with or they're still alive, whatever. But high school is a different time where you're seeing your friends on the daily. And like I mentioned, I went to a small school. So these are people I grew up with, elementary, high school. We've always known each other. And so now to not have that, I do look back on it and it is something that you miss sometimes. Not high school necessarily, but just seeing those people that have been in your life for so long, seeing them grow, being surrounded by them, not having that as much and not being able to be with your friends and having that time, that's something that you will definitely miss. So really take the time to appreciate that. I know that when I realized, I'm not going to be close with some of you guys, I didn't appreciate those relationships as much as I should have. And I was missing days of school because I was like, I'd rather rest, whatever. But now I look at it and I'm like, damn, if I could have made one or two more memories with that person, I would have been dope. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But while you have these people, make sure you do appreciate them. Yeah, the next thing I wish I knew is one that would have saved me a lot of time in a lot of situations. And that's really just trust your gut. When you have that gut feeling, it's for a reason. I'll tell you a story. When it came to school, I had to choose which university I'd go to. So I was between three choices. Either my hometown university that's always been my dream to go to, but for a program I did not care for, or go to a city that I'd never heard of before I chose this school, but one of my closest friends was going to, and it was for a really good program. I want to go to the best university in my country for a good program. Now, this was actually a way harder decision than it should have been. And originally, I did choose the second one. So going to where my friend was, and, it was a good program. But then last minute, I was like, nah, it's the wrong decision. Let me go for the best university, best program. And I made that decision, even though it wasn't really going with my gut. And that's one that I actually did live to regret. But eventually I chose, hey, maybe I chose it for a reason. Boom, let me make the most of it. And I enjoyed it. But when you have those gut feelings, trust it, because every time I've gone against it, I've gone on to regret it. Now, the next tip I had was actually to share your passions. There's a lot of things that I really care for that a lot of people that I went to school with will never know. For example, I'm a big fan of anime, but if you went to school with me, you probably would not know that. I mean, maybe you do now because now I'm more open with it, but some of my close friends were into that, and I didn't even know until after high school. And though it doesn't have to be something like that, but I've always been more creative or wanted to really tap into my creative space, but I never did. So with a lot of my passions, I didn't share them. And that's something I truly do regret, because I could have worked on them even more if I was way more open to them. And so like I mentioned earlier, in trying to fit in, sometimes you ignore the parts of you that you truly care for. And this is even like when it comes to reading. I did not read out in high school, and that's something that I missed. So nowadays, I'm a big reader, and I'm happy that I'm reading again. So the things that make you keep doing them. Additionally, it's okay to care. I know it sounds weird, but I'm someone who I can't make it seem like, oh, I don't care about this, I don't care about that. But that's not cool. It's better to care about things. It gives you a reason to live. It makes you passionate about them. It's things you can learn about, things you can speak of. And there's people who are going to appreciate that. Be like, whoa, this person really cares for that. If anything, that's the main thing I look at people. What's that one thing that you're truly passionate about? So don't think, oh, you have to act like super nonchalant and all of that. You could be nonchalant if that's who you are. But at the same time, it's okay to care. And even if the perception people have of you is that you are nonchalant, it's okay to have that one thing that you truly just care about. Now, this next thing has to do with your mind playing tricks on you, which is there's no perfect time. Now, when I speak of this, I speak with this with relationships, I speak with this with business, whatever it is, with any of your ideas. I know for myself, I have big goals. I always want to have my own business. Obviously, one day maybe I'll get married, we'll see. But like I was saying earlier, with having to go through a lot of situations where there's a connection between me and this girl, or there's a little thing, but I don't pursue it because I'm like, nah, it's not the right time or whatever. It's really important to understand that there is no perfect time, because you could be trying to become the best version of yourself before you get into a relationship with a specific person, and then they see, because you took so long, now they're in a relationship, now they're married. This is a lesson I had to learn in multiple ways, multiple times. So it's definitely my duty to share it. And even when it comes to this YouTube thing, you never upload a video. How can you get better? How can you grow? How can you become a good YouTuber? You don't get better at stuff by being on the sidelines. You need to get in, you need to play, you need to create moments, not wait for them. And even speaking of this, you need to understand that, failure is a part of the process. If you look up my videos right now, I don't know how many I have up, but it's not like I'm 1,000 subscribers, 10,000, whatever, but I'm working towards it. And every video, I get better on camera. I feel more comfortable with this. So if I get better at this aspect, then what's next? Okay, let me get better at editing. Okay, now let me get better at thumbnails. So steadily you get better, but you're going to fail along the way. Even when you ask someone else, you could ask them no, and they say no. And it's like, okay, you live with that. But now, because you did that, now you feel more confident to do it the next time. And so if you're not failing, you're not progressing. And though I do say there is no perfect time, that is actually a lie. Right now is the perfect time. Because if you listen to this, that means you're still young, most likely. And if you're young, there's no better time. Even if you're old, it doesn't matter. As time goes on, it becomes a worse and worse time with everything you do. I don't care what anybody says, because as you get older, you have more responsibilities. So the younger you are, the better time it is. But again, even if you're old, you might as well do it now, because the years of doing it now eventually will catch up. Now, the next lesson that I really wish I knew this one, it's really just that time heals all. Like I said, I got in a relationship afterwards that when you go for your first breakup, it definitely feels like, certain things will not heal or whatever, or you lose certain friendships in the way, and you're like, damn, it's really gonna suck to not have that friendship. But now being so far away from it, bro, time really heals all. Even with my ex, we're cordial. Eventually, everything just heals itself. I'm good with that person. I'm good with the friends that I've lost along the way. There's no one where there's any animosity towards. Even the people where I thought, I'm gonna hate this person for life, I see them now, it's like, what's good? What's going on? Eventually, you just run out of animosity. If you're still holding on to animosity from years back, come on now. And I really wish I knew this, because I was kind of a confrontational person in grade 12. Like I said, I was in my villain era. And because of this, I lost a lot of friendships, and I thought, damn, I'm never gonna have those back or whatever. But really, time healed it all. And if I knew that, I would have taken more time to really just appreciate it. And also maybe just not be as mad, because at the end of the day, it would have fixed itself. Now, this next one is the one that I think a lot of young men are probably going to need to hear. And that's, don't hold everything in. I'm going to be honest, I'm someone who's always done that. Always been like, if I'm mad, I mean, not show it. But then what ends up happening is you get to a certain point, like your boiling point, where after that, you need to let it go. And what ends up happening is you have an outburst that doesn't even make sense to most people around you. Because like, How did that get him so mad? I feel like I was very prone to this when I was younger, and it really did not go in my head a lot of times. Now, some people would see it and they'd be like, oh, I've never seen you get that mad. And it didn't ever feel like a situation where I should have gotten that mad. But it was other things that were bothering me, and I would just let it end up in an outburst. That was something I should not have done. So don't hold everything in. It's okay to talk to people. It's okay to vent. But make sure you're getting it out before it gets to a certain boiling point where you can't control it anymore. And this is something that definitely played a part in my relationships as well. As after that breakup, it feels like everything you've been holding in, now it's like you're trying to get them, you're mad, whatever. That's not the way to go. That's never the way to go. It's better to address them along the way so it never just becomes one big fight where everything's been held in. Nah, make sure you're continuously addressing them. Now, this next thing is really just take risks. Like I've been saying, I wish I took more risks when I was younger. Because when I look back on certain events, I'm like, damn, why'd I never do that? Why'd I never do this? If you try it early on, then you know, oh, I like this or I don't. But if you don't take those risks, how are you supposed to grow? Everything that I really want to achieve in this life only happens if I take a real risk. So if I started doing them when I was younger, I would have gotten more comfortable with it. And though I don't think it's too late, it just would have been better. I would have been ahead. So if you can do it now, I think that's really useful. And this last tip is it's the one that I really wish I knew earlier, but hey, at least I know it now. And it's no one has it figured out yet. So it's okay if you don't. And the reason why I say this one's so important is I remember I was in my first year of uni, and this is what I really wanted to just drop it. I was like, nah, I hate this. But I was so convinced that, oh, because I'm already done my first year, I already paid this amount. Now my life is cooked. You know what I mean? Because I had to take at least a year to pay off these debts and all that. I was thinking, I can't do anything else. Like I can't start my own business because I'm going to have to pay this back. And I'm thinking my whole life is cooked off of this one decision. And bro, it really wasn't. I wish I knew it really wasn't. Like I had the time to do it then. I had the time to do it now. I always gonna have the time, or at least the freedom for the most part, until I get married. And because I was so convinced that all these people had it figured out so early, and I just wasted a year, or like the most important year, I thought I was done. But if I knew then what I know now, I would know that it doesn't matter. No one has it figured out. You figure it out along the way by just trying things. You throw them at the wall, see what sticks, really. That's how every YouTube video is, and that's why I do it, because it teaches me that. It progressively reminds me of the fact that you don't know which videos are going to blow. It might be none of these. But if I'm steadily getting better, I'm steadily learning different things that maybe something will stick along the way. Maybe it's a video does well, or maybe it's a, hey, I learned that I really like editing. Maybe I should try to pursue this. Or maybe I want to become a cameraman. I don't know. Or maybe you just meet cool people. It doesn't matter. But by understanding that, hey, you don't figure it out by not doing anything. You figure it out by just trying random things. That's when it all starts making more sense. And even through that, what ends up happening is I wish I understood this earlier, because it would have helped me just overall get a grasping of my life and understand that, hey, the things I'm going through that are hard, I'm going to get through them, because it's just another battle in this life. Everybody goes through battles. Everybody goes through the struggles, though we don't speak of them necessarily. Doesn't mean that I'm the first person to go through these problems. You know what I mean? So it's okay. No one has to figure it out at 18. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody says. You can see someone that's a musician at 17, 18, they haven't figured it out. But in their minds, they want to be an actor, or they want to do something else, or they don't know why they don't have any purpose in their life. Stop focusing on that. Focus on you. Focus on getting better. Focus on just trying different things. Bro, have a good time, man. The teenage years, those were some good years, and you didn't have fun. You did make the most of a lot of it, but you could have done better. You are doing better now, and you still could do better. And just look at that. I'm proud of 18-year-old you. I'm proud of every teenage year of you, because that's when you really start taking risks, and I'm proud of you for that. But you could have taken more. And now, as I'm about to start 23, I just want to say I'm truly just proud of you. I'm proud of the old you. I'm proud of the 22-year-old you that's about to become 23. Keep making yourself proud. So yeah, it's funny that you guys are here for this, but overall, this is for me. This is a video for me. It's a video for you. And I think that's the best way it could be. Again, about to be 23. It's weird. But if you enjoyed this, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.